Good morning, this is Jack from the Untitled Chapter, and this is the pre-market recording for Friday, the 12th of October. Our disclaimer, we do this for educational purposes only. We're here to share our technical analysis with you. We hope you can take some of what we're doing and learn from it, transfer it to your own charts. We're not here to issue trading signals. Right, where are we on ES? Well, it looks like the rally has started. We're obviously on a 60-minute buy signal. That is fixed, that is reconfirmed. And we don't really have a double bottom set up here, but then I wouldn't expect it to get up to, pretty close to 2,900 anyway. I think we've got decent resistance at 2,800. If we break that, the 50% trace is in the 2820 area, and that's where I'd be looking to find resistance. Likelihood is that we have finished an A down, that we're currently doing a B, and then after that B, we're going to be doing a C down that will go lower. NQ is slightly different. We've got a nice looking double bottom there. It's breaking up. Stands looking for the target in the 73.50 to 75 area. I would mention that I've got declining resistance currently in the 72.60 area, and that could hold as a resistance on the way. We're already breaking up from that double bottom. I think for the open today, stands thinking morning low and then up. For the rally, which may or may not last for the rest of the day. We shall see. All right, let's have a look at the RTH charts. Now, we've done some serious technical damage, and we did some at the low yesterday as well. What was that technical damage? Well, we broke this trend line. This is the main support trend line from the start of 2016. It's now broken. We're likely in a topping process now, and the minimum target I would have would be, normally on a move down from this, would actually be the 2508 area, 38.2. Now, we do not need to make that target now. Chances are we are still in the topping process. Obvious targets on the way are stand sticking low 2600s. We've got this at 2584. The big one I'd be watching if we get a strong wave C is this this possible neckline here in the 2532 area, and that would be a very interesting low to a certain extent. Where this sea level bottoms out partially defines where we go after we've had another move up, and then we get another leg down, possibly after a higher high. Topping process quite a lot of the time involves a higher high. So we'd be watching for a reversal pattern to form and go down. If we were to get down to this area here, 2534, that would open the possibility that we're going to be heading down here on the next leg down into the 2140 area. But best to keep an open mind on these things, keeping an open mind, waiting to see where it lands. But the thing is, A, B, C, and where we land tells us a fair amount about where we're going next. Now, in terms of the signals, I don't have an RSI 14 buy signal brewing on the 60-minute. I've got an RSI 5. Chances are that will fix at the open. We can then fill the gap as Stan's talking about and go up or not. We've got a decent resistance here, 2796. That's a broken support level. But the main area I'm going to be watching here was support on the way down briefly, and really I'll be looking for this 2820 to 2830 on the way up. We could go higher than that, but I think that'll be a 50% retrace of what we've done so far. Chances are that will hold. Right, let's have a quick look at RUT and NDX. Right, I've got no positive divergence on the RSI 14. Again, I've got positive divergence on the RSI 5. Big move down. We are looking on the daily. We've done a very serious break of the support of 1600 that I was looking for, and we've got levels below. I think if we it may be that the ultimate target of this move is going to be a touch of this trend line here, currently in the 1175 area, in which case here I would expect to be reaching about the halfway level. There is a very obvious level for that, 1436. If we reach that level or a bit above it, then potentially we're forming an inverted head and shoulders. We come back, form a right shoulder, and go. So that's the area I'll be looking for, basically 1436 to 70 probably, and I'll be looking for potential support there. Right, NQ, short term, where I've got both 60-minute, both RSI 14 and RSI 5 buy signals brewing. Chances are, again, they're going to fix at the open, and we will see some follow through from that. On the daily chart, we have broken this trend line here, which is rising support again from 2016. We're likely in the topping process. Where are we looking at for bigger picture targets? Well, It's a long way down, but if we were to head down to this potential inverted head and shoulder neckline in the, I've got one at just under 6,400. I've got another one just under 6,200. The higher one particularly could potentially set up a head and shoulders to go and reach this target here in the 4,500 area. I'd be watching for that. We've broken the support trend line, so the way is open to go lower after a bounce. And I'll be very interested to see where it goes from there. Okay, let's have a look at CL. Now, CL, possible head and shoulders forming here, but I think the main thing is short term that we broke trend line support, which is opening further downside. But in the short term, we've got a 60-minute buy signal that's fixed, reconfirmed, and I'm looking for a bounce. Stan's basically taking the view that we either see resistance up here, which is the resistance trend line in the 74 area. If that breaks, retest the high. If that doesn't break, then we can go lower. And I'm in full agreement with that. So I think we're really expecting to see a test of this declining resistance. I'm expecting that too. NG. NG, this is broken support. Again, that is opening the downside. We're looking at a bounce here at the moment, and we've got a weak 60-minute buy signal that could go higher, maybe 330, and then we're likely to see a C down, which goes lower. Stan's thinking 305 for that. Looking at the dailies, that could be a bit lower than that. I wouldn't be altogether surprised to see 3 or even a little under, possibly even monthly pivot at 2.955. So watching that with interest. There's some downside pressure that needs to be relieved, but Stan's scenario I like because it then opens the possibility of going to 3.4 afterwards, which would pick up that trend line, which looks like unfinished business above. Okay, GC, nice break up. Flag here, chances are we'll see a retest of this high. That could set up a decent retracement and set up negative divergence. I think Stan's looking for a pullback and then higher. That seems reasonable to me. SI finding resistance at the weekly pivot, possible little double top formed here, and we've got a possible 60-minute sell signal brewing. HG, I'm keeping an open mind on direction. I think overall this is a right shoulder forming on a large IHS. In the short term, we're struggling to get a bit higher. I'm wondering, DX likely to bounce. GC and SI look as though they're going to pull back. This may well pull back with them. I'd be expecting that pullback to hold the monthly pivot at 2.7520 at this stage. Okay, ZB, possible IHS trying to break up here, having a bit of a pullback at the moment. We haven't really reached my first resistance target. We might or might not be reaching that when we reach this declining resistance trend line on ZB. It may well be that while we're rallying on in equities, we're going to see a bit of a pullback here and then another spike up. Really like this target area in the mid 140s, possibly as high as the monthly pivot 141.13 for this next leg up. Okay, DX. DX has made it to a possible head and shoulder neckline. This is an interesting development. Now, I've got a double top target, which is lower at the monthly pivot. A rally here, ideally with a high at about, let's say, the 95 area or just above, sets up a potential head and shoulders to reverse the whole of this move back to the 93.375 area. I like the way this is setting up. We've broken short-term declining resistance. I'm quite liking a bounce here and then lower. I'd be expecting that at worst to hold the weekly pivot at 95.23. Okay, USD inverted setup really, so not much more to add to that. USD JPY, we've got a pretty decent looking falling megaphone here, and I've got megaphone resistance currently in about the 112.8 area, and we're on a 60-minute buy signal. I'm expecting to see a test of that resistance. On a breakup, we could see higher. There's a possible double bottom that would be looking for the 113.25 area. USD CAD has broken up from this megaphone, keeping an open mind again, but leaning higher after a pullback here, which may reach the support trend line in the 1.2985 area. Okay, Australian dollar. Australian dollar. I'll come back to annual pivot and so on the afterwards, but I think I'll just run through the rest of them now. Australian dollar, potential double bottom here. A weak 60-minute sell signal is brewing. We could see a pullback here, but really I'm quite liking this double bottom to play out to the upside. probably after this pullback on DX. KC, still got a rising wedge, still topping out within that rising wedge. If this double bottom breaks down, we'd be looking for 1055, 106 area. I think that would be about right for a retracement. The 50 back would get us back to 105. SB, again, topping out, retesting high. 60-minute sell signal, we're still on one. Thinking double top here, maybe a back test into the weekly pivot area, 1212. CC, keeping an open mind on direction here, could be forming a double top. Haven't broken this rising support yet, but this looks like some kind of flag forming. ZW has broken this rising support, no clear pattern here at all. The obvious next target, I think Stan's looking for it, but the obvious next target for me, if this is a flag, and it may be a flag, but there's no real obvious read on it. But the thing is, if it is a flag, then I think we'd be looking for a retest of this low here at 494. I don't think Stan is looking for that currently. Corn, there's potential double top here now. No current divergence. Wondering about a bit of a pullback here. We could break up directly from here. If so, I've got possible trendline resistance in about 377 area. If we pull back hard, then we could be this could be a double top, and we could be breaking back towards a retest of the low. I don't think Stan's expecting that though. Soy looks like it wants a retest of this high. Hasn't made it yet. No current divergence. Right. Annual pivot on ES 2538. Yes. Let's have a look. Let's have a look at the annual pivot. So I was looking at the SPX for the annual pivot, and I was looking at, where did I have it marked? I think I had it on the daily chart. Yeah, annual pivot is at 2538. That translates to at about 2543 on ES, and I think if we were to make that, that is a very big support level and a possible head and shoulder neckline. I've got that at 2532. That's a pretty close match. This is an attractive target. If we do make it there, then I would expect to see probably a right shoulder bounce, get up into the high 2800s, and if that then broke down, that would be looking for that 2140 target. I'd be looking at. So ideally, from here we'd go up to the 2800 to 2830 area and then head down to that. Stan is looking for high 2600s. It could stop there. I'm not seeing any particular obvious reason to think that it would, but let's say we went there and then retested the high and failed. That's an alternative with a higher target. I'd quite like to see this 2534 made. It would make for an interesting next few months at the very least. Okay, do we have any other questions? No, in that case, that's a wrap. I'll have this posted as soon as possible, and I'll catch you guys on the Twitter feed later. Likely to be an interesting day.